All right. So, good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are in the world, and welcome back to CPC on YouTube. We haven't been around for a while. We've done a couple of housey sessions and one or two other sessions of less preparation, significance, importance, etc. But today we have a very special function lined up for you. First, let me introduce my co-host who knows more about cooking than I do, Bhavna. So, hi Bhavna, and welcome back. And all the way from London, we have our star for today, a childhood friend of mine. And I should start actually by showing you guys how far back the two of us go. You'll recognize the two people on the extreme ends of the photograph, but yeah, the two people in the middle are actually our guest of honor and me. So this was from her first birthday party, and you'll recognize our respective dads on either side. But yeah, that's how far back Sharmeen and I go. So Sharmeen, a very, very warm welcome to you. And who would have thought, whatever, 5 years ago, that you and I would be on a cooking program together? Not me, for sure.
And it just wouldn't have even been thought about at that time.
All right. So for those of you who don't know Sharmeen, and that's possibly very few of you, so Sharmeen is the daughter of Adi and Bapsi Rabadi. Adi uncle, of course, past president of Parsi Club, former trustee of the community, and Aragyari. Very well-known family to all of us. But Sharmeen, tell us a bit about what's happened in your life after you've left Cal.
So I left Calcutta September 1998, and I celebrated my 21st birthday here. So I was just a few days short of my 21st birthday, and my life literally just started at that time over here. So first year, I was staying in halls of residence, didn't need to really know cooking. I even tried once, and the best I could do was put a tin of tuna in the oven, and then the whole place was stinking. They're like, "What are you doing?" I said, I'm cooking a can of tuna in the oven. They said, "You don't cook tuna in the oven like that." It doesn't happen. So that's how far back, how bad I was. I couldn't even boil rice. I didn't even know how hard grains become soft. I had no idea about cooking. So
I don't know what you're talking about.
Sit over here and do a cooking show with you, it's a massive achievement of my life, basically. So second year, I was staying in a flat. So I think that's when my desperation mode kicked in, and I had to cook. Really, otherwise I was just not going to survive here, was I? There was no one to say कि आज क्या चाहिए, आज क्या बनाएगा खाना के लिए. No one was there to ask me this, right, anymore. So I just had to get myself into the kitchen and start.
So there's a story I know pertaining to Nick, your husband, which might have been a sort of sign of things to come with regard to you and the kitchen. So tell us that story.
So when I first met Nick, he had no idea of India or Indian cooking or Chinese food, nothing. He grew up in a very traditional Greek family, right, in Greece. So one day I remember telling Mummy on the phone, I said, "Mummy, give me one recipe that I can make for this guy. I'm really interested in him. I like him very much. I want to cook for him. So can you give me one recipe that I can probably impress him?" So she gave me prawn patio recipe. She goes, "That's the easiest. There'll be no problem. You just do this, and prawn patio will be made." So I said, okay. And I made, and I think Kaizad was staying with us at that time in our flats. I think Kaizad was, or he came to visit us. And Kaizad gave me his thumbs up rule. He said, "Sharmeen, this is lovely. This is well done." But there's a picture of me with all the curry running down my pants. I had cream colored trousers. I had to throw those trousers away after that because I was literally covered in this yellow curry paste. So yeah, it was still beginnings. Yanni is here. He wants to join in. And that's how the years just started, really. Say hi to everyone. So that's how my cooking really just started, by making that prawn patia first with rice. And mommy had to actually tell me how to cook rice, because I had no idea. In the email, I remember that email she sent me, "Okay, this is what you do, and step-by-step guide." And that's how I started cooking.
Yeah. And you're not telling us, yeah, Bhavna, you wanted to say something?
Yeah. So what was the first Greek dish that you learned how to cook?
This was very good. Moussaka was my first, and Nick's. No, I'll tell you a very funny story. So, moussaka is made with a bechamel sauce. Okay. Now, imagine Nick also, he's lived in Greece all his life. He didn't know what is bechamel sauce. So one day we went to a Greek community, like communities here, right? So there was one street full of Greek shops. Okay. And I remember walking with him for 2 hours, going from shop to shop to ask, can we buy bechamel? Can we buy bechamel? Where can we find bechamel sauce? And then a friend of ours, Stelios, he said, "Have you guys gone mad?" And then Stelios taught me how to make bechamel sauce. And he was the one who taught me how to make moussaka. And he was teaching me Greek as well at that time. Nice. So and even now when I meet Stelios, he reminds me how he taught me how to make bechamel sauce for the moussaka. So moussaka was my first dish that I learned.
What about the proposal story? You have to tell us that.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone can win the cup for the worst proposal in the world except me. We were in our student accommodation because we met as students, right? And this is in Hackney. So if people know London and people know Hackney, you can just about imagine East End of London, a flat in East End of London, student accommodation. We were standing in the kitchen. I was cooking something. And he goes, "Oh, you're such a good cook. I want to marry you." And even me, I just said, "Yeah, let's get married. That's a good idea." That was it. He said, "Yeah, let's get married."
So from
in the middle of me cooking, not even looking nice or anything, we just decided in that little kitchen that, okay, that's a good idea. Let's get married.
So sweet.
Yeah, Hamna, keep that in mind. So let's move from the flat. Let's move from the flat in Hackney to your roots in Bengal, and let's go to the first dessert you're going to make. Show us how to make today. So, and that's Mishti Doi. So you wanna just take us into the demo that we have for everyone?
Yes. So basically, I'll give you a little bit. So before I even land in Calcutta, mommy has to keep a pot of Mishti Dai ready for me before I even come to Calcutta. So that's my Mishti Dai ready for after I get ready and come downstairs after my flight. I have to have Mishti Dai after my meal. So that's something I need in Calcutta. Every visit, I have to have Mishti Dai, whether it's with rasgulla or just by itself, but I have to have it. And I was so desperate to have it over here, but you can't find Mishti Dai anywhere. Unless somebody knows where you can find Mishti Dai, please message me. I'd be very happy to know if you can find Mishti Dai in London. But a friend of mine, a Bengali friend, she taught me actually this Bhapa Mishti Dai dish. And when I made it and I tasted it, that brain connection that comes with tastes and memories and just flashbacks. So I was so happy when I made it. Now I make it all the time. And it's so easy. It's like literally, 20 minutes preparation and it's done.
Okay, so we're gonna show all of you, our viewers, how Sharmeen makes Mishti Doi. So she's very kindly put together a really nice video for us.
Yeah.
So yeah, listen in. If you have any questions, if you miss something, if you want to know a trick here or there or a shortcut, I mean, this is fairly short anyway, but send us in a question. You can message us on YouTube. You can also send either Bhavna or me a WhatsApp message, and we'll ask the expert. All right. So
yeah, just questions about the Mishti Doi, nothing else.
That is true. Unless there are some questions you have about Bhavna, I'll put them forward. Okay, so yeah, enjoy this. This is Sharmeen showing us how to make Mishti Doi. As soon as I can find it. Yeah.
I I've been looking forward to doing this, and I just wanted to say that if I am going to make Mishti Doi today for you, it was pure desperation that taught me how to make it, because I missed it so much being away from Calcutta for so long. And I have a Bengali friend who lives here who taught me this recipe. And since I've been making it with saved day or just like a dessert. And tomorrow I'm going to a friend's house, so I'm going to make this for them as well, for them to try. And I promise you, after this recipe that I'm going to show you, you're going to be blown away how easy it is to actually make Mishti Doi at home. It won't be authentic like you get in the shops, but very, 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 very close to it. So we're going to organize a very fun evening today. I've been given strict instructions to make it as fun as possible. So I hope I can entertain you guys as much as possible. Benny's orders and Ratan's orders, that we should make it as fun and as exciting. So let's start making Mishti Doi. You've got your khatta dai over here, where you can just get in the shops. So I've got khatta dai, and I just pour it into my oven baking dish. This is around 500 grams of khatta dai. And then we've got condensed milk. So condensed milk, how much is this? This is do 300 to 397 grams. So not as much as the khatta dai, but enough to just make that sweetness come without the sugar inside. And I just literally mix it. I don't know if I can show you what I'm doing, but this is it. Just mixing the whole thing together. Now, the trick that I discovered was to take a bit of gur, which I have over here. If anyone can comment and tell me what's the easiest way to grate gur, I'd be happy, because this is actually the hardest thing anyone can do, really. It's a block of gur that I've got over here, and I'm just literally suffering while I grate this. Not enough. This is literally to get the color of the Mishti Doi as well, like we have it in Calcutta. I think enough. Right, so about 2-3 tablespoons full of gur goes in. Again, mix it. And now, cardamom powder. So this, let me get a spoon. So this would be about 2 spoonfuls. There we go. I knew I would do something silly, and I left the spoon in. Oh, well, there you go. That's the fun part. That's it. And one more spoonful. Mix it. Again with the cardamom powder. And that literally is it. And this now will go into the oven for about 20 minutes till it bakes. My hands are full of yogurt. Just give me 1 second. At 190 degrees Celsius. So I can't really show it, but if that's what it looks like, all mixed up. And you put it into the oven. It doesn't have to be a preheated oven. Then you can start heating up. It doesn't need to be hot, it just needs to bake slightly.
So that's about 20 minutes of the Mishti Dahi. I'm opening the oven now and just taking it out. Which is just right. Now I'm going to pour a little bit of saffron milk into this on top. That's it. I'm going to swirl it around a little bit. And I'm going to show you what this looks like now. There you have it. That's your Mishti Dahi with the saffron milk on top.
All right. So we're back. Bhavna, there are lots of questions on YouTube regarding some proposal about you. I don't know what that's about, but I'm just letting you know.
Yeah, neither do I. I don't know what they're talking about.
There's a message, Sharmeen, saying that there's something called the Kolkata Street Restaurant or some shops in South Hall or Wembley. Apparently, you get Mishti Dahi there. So I don't know if that's the case.
If they deliver, then it's fantastic.
Okay. All right. So now I believe you're going to ask Bhavna and me some questions on this recipe, right?
Yes.
To be honest, I wasn't actually paying attention. I was watching YouTube, but
Ratan, you get an advantage because you edited the videos.
Still, I was not concentrating on the content. Anyway, let's go, Sharmeen.
Right. So, what's the well, let's say masala ingredient that goes into the Mishti Dahi? What's
saffron?
Something. One, and let Ratan now answer, Bhavna.
I don't know. Good possibly, if that's a masala.
Good is not a masala.
I don't know what else.
Something like it can be it can be a masala.
Oh, cardamom powder.
Very good. You see, he did the video. Right? Yes to know. Then okay, I'll ask a difficult question now. So, what does Mishti mean?
Sweet.
Yeah, sweet.
Sweet what?
Just sweet.
Just sweet. In
Bengali
Sanskrit,
sweet.
it means sweet person.
Oh.
Really? Okay. We have a friend called Mishti, so I'll clarify. I'll clarify with her. That's what it means.
If she's watching it, just she'll be happy to know.
All right.
Are my questions only directed to what I made, or can it just be around Mishti Dahi? Because it's very difficult to ask more than what masala went into that.
Last question, tiebreaker.
Hey, I get Mishti is sweet as well.
Yeah, so 1-1 tiebreaker.
But it means in Sanskrit it means a sweet person.
I was answering in Bengali.
Okay, so the question has to be from what I did, yeah? So instead of sugar, what did I use?
Good.
Jaggery.
No.
Good.
Bhavna, come on.
Oh, condensed milk. Winner, chicken dinner. Yeah. All right.
But you use good as well, right?
Right?
She said instead of sugar. Having won again, let's move on to your second dish.
Fine.
All right. But so the second dish is baklava. Yeah. That's okay.
It's
Doesn't matter,
fine.
Bhavna. It was close. It was
He's
close.
sulking the whole evening if I don't let him win.
The second dish that you're making is baklava, and the first time I had it was at an Iranian sweet shop very close to where I once lived in the US, and I just loved it. So I was really looking forward to seeing you make it. But I have a question for Bhavna to answer here before we get going. Okay, so if you answer this question,
you're not allowed to ask me questions.
if you answer this question correctly, I take our first quiz as a tie. Okay, so here's your chance. I'm being magnanimous. Okay, so what's the capital of the country from which baklava
I'm
originates?
not answering your questions.
Come
Please
on.
go to the video.
Country.
I'm not.
Yeah.
Go to the video. I'm not giving you any satisfaction.
Come on.
No. Please go to the video.
Okay. All right. No. So Sharmeen, you want to talk about this and sort of take us into the video?
Okay, so baklava, we just keep buying it from our local Turkish shop, right? The baklava. But every time we buy the baklava here, it has very, I don't know, that oil or something in the baklava I just don't like. Yeah, even when and Edgware Road is too far for us to keep traveling every time we want baklava to go and get baklava. So I said, right, that's it. I'm making it. I got into this frenzy of making all things that I like. Especially during lockdown, right? What do you do? So I learned banana cake. I learned this baklava recipe. What else did I learn? Another Greek sweet dish I made, and it turned out really well. And yeah, and I just enjoyed it so much because it's so easy again. Like once I made it, I said, "Oh my gosh, that's it." And I couldn't even believe it. So for me, who didn't know how to boil rice to make baklava, and that was so easy, it was something that I just felt good. And the satisfaction comes when you see the kids and Nick eating it, and they're like, "Oh my God, this is so good!" And it's full of nuts. I don't use anything that's bad, so it's all pure olive oil, the best olive oil that we can get. Then it's got all the goodness of the nuts. Walnuts, almonds, pistachios. Right. The phyllo pastry is not exactly the healthiest, but it's good. I mean, I buy it fresh, phyllo pastry. And also I add a spoonful of ghee, which is my trick. You won't find ghee in other baklavas.
All right. So let's go to the video then, right? And Sharmeen, while the video is on, if you want to explain something, feel free. You're on screen still, so you can talk people through what you were doing. And guys, if anyone has any questions, please ask us on the YouTube chat or on WhatsApp. Enjoy.
See, sit over. So now we're just roasting our first batch, which is pistachios. Once this gets hot, we're going to grind it in our mixie. So now I've got my walnuts and I'm just grating them. There we go. Almonds. The amount of almonds and walnuts depends on how big your dish is. So, and how much nuts you want in your baklava. I like it very nutty, so I just use a lot. So now this is my nut mixture of walnuts and almonds, all grated and ready. If you like, you can add a dollop of ghee and just mix it into the mixture to give it really a nice rich aroma when it's cooking in the oven. That's my ghee going in, and I give it a good mixture. All right. I'm going to use a whole handful of cranberries, dried cranberries, to give it that little fruity taste as well. So now we are going to assemble our baklava. I have got phyllo pastry here. This pastry is like paper thin. I don't know if you get it in Calcutta, but maybe it's the same thing that you use to make spring rolls, I think, but I'm not too sure. But this, what we get here is phyllo pastry, F-I-L-O. So you take your baking dish, you put some olive oil. Extra virgin is excellent for this because it has a really sharp taste. And just brush the whole dish at the bottom. So that it doesn't stick to the sides and it actually cooks as well. If you feel you've used too much oil and you're not very happy with it, you can take a little bit out. It's up to you. You can leave it on a dish to put later on top. Get a little bit of olive oil into your own hands. So it's nice to get the pastry. So what you do is you just put a little bit of the pastry inside and the other half of it outside, because that will go on the top later. And you just get rid of any bubbles there are at the base. This is quite nice. It was like an art and craft sort of job. Your base has to be really thick, otherwise your baklava is just going to fall into pieces with all those nuts. So it needs to have a really good thick base. Just keep that there. And again, leave half of it out, half of it in. Take your olive oil and just the corners, paste it in with olive oil. So the corners that are sticking together, you're just going to glue it literally like you're pasting it together, and it will stick. Take a little bit more olive oil if you need, and just repeat the process with each and every sheet as you put it down. Right, so now you can see that my dish has 1 sheet, 2, 3, 4 and 5 holding the bottom, and the rest are sticking out. Now to put the filling into the baklava, into the pastry. Not the baklava. Baklava hasn't been made yet. So just empty out a good amount to cover the base. The first base. Yeah? That's it. Right. Now you fold in each sheet. I'm laughing because I have an excellent cameraman doing this for me. Both of us have never done this before, but we're trying our best. Another layer of nuts goes in, and this can be a bit thinner. You don't have to make it that thick like the bottom base. And then another sheet goes in. And a few more nuts. And this is how you're just going to build it. Then the next sheet. Don't worry if the edges are all crooked. We're going to look at that last and fix it with olive oil. Then one more. And then you build it again with this sheet on top. Again, the last bit. This time just finish up all the nuts and spread. And another sheet on top. Now comes the important part of tucking all of these things in. Again, olive oil is very important. And you just with your fingers push everything in like this. Yeah, whatever is sticking out. And take olive oil and just batter it down. This way. And put lots of olive oil on top to cover the whole top bit, and just keep pushing again all the sides down and brushing the top with olive oil. That's it. It's ready for the oven. So that's your baklava into the oven at 150 Celsius in a baking setting. This will now cook for another 20 minutes or until it's brown and crispy on top. Right, now we are making the sugar syrup. So we are taking approximately for the dish that I have, because it's not a very big dish, I'm taking about a small cup of sugar. As you can see, I never measure anything. I just pour. And I like it like that. And it always comes out right. I don't know why. Water again, around about 2 cups of water to the sugar. Stir it and cook it on a hot stove till the sugar melts and you get a nice sugary syrup from this. Keep stirring till all the sugar is melted and you get a very sticky consistency. There we go. That's our baklava. Nice and crispy and brown, like I said, it will come out. But what you do now is you cut it. You don't have to cut it completely, just so that there are some gaps in the middle for the sugar syrup to reach deep within the baklava. Just gently. You don't need to break it too much, just so that the sugar syrup can reach at the bottom. This is my sugar syrup boiling away. Consistency should be, these are rose petals, by the way. If you see this lump inside, these are some rose petals that I used to give a very, or you can add rose water. It depends, whatever you like. It's a bit frothy. You can take out the froth if you like, but it should smoothen down. If I turn it off, you see that the bubbles just disappear. Sorry, it's just really difficult to hold a mobile phone while recording in my hand and cook. So just bear with me if the camera goes a bit haywire. Check the consistency in a bowl to see if you've got a sticky this is the consistency that you really need. Perfect. I'm quite happy with this consistency. Now what I'm going to do is add my cinnamon powder to my sugar syrup. A good amount of cinnamon. This is cinnamon, yeah, thank God. Otherwise I always get mixed up with jeera powder, because that's similar. Once I did that, and I put jeera powder instead of cinnamon by mistake. I had to chuck the whole thing away. There you go. So you've mixed it. Now for the final part, it's quite hot. You pour the sugar syrup all over your baklava and leave it to cool overnight. It's going to absorb everything by the morning. I know it looks a little bit too much, but that's how baklava wood is. It has to be swimming in this sugar syrup. So there you go. Once you've added the sugar syrup, then you can add a little bit of honey if you wish. That's entirely up to you. I have, because I like honey, and I'm also going to top it up with pistachios to give it my final touch. So any imperfections just hide, really. And I like a lot of pistachios, so I will add more. I'll keep adding more till I'm satisfied with how it looks. Why not just add the whole bowl? Hand is too slow. There we go. Just spread it out with your hands. And there you go. I'm going to bed now. It's 1:45 in the morning. I've had fun. I'm still buzzing. I hope you've enjoyed it and I have shown it in a proper way to you. Apologies if my hand was shaking a bit or the camera wasn't in the right position and you couldn't see something that you really wanted to see, but you can always ask me in the comments. Looking forward to hearing if you want to try it or if you are going to try it in the future. And yeah, Thank you so much. Take care. Bye. In that last video, that last part, Sanaya had messaged me early in the morning, and I'm like, I'm trying to talk on the phone, and she's messaging me. I'm like, yeah, Sanaya. Thanks. Bye now, everyone.
I have to say something. So Benny messaged saying that in this video we actually felt like we were in the kitchen with you, and I totally agree with her. I mean, I watched this for the second time. I've really enjoyed watching this video because we really got in there, and I think Nick's presence also added a different dimension because of where he was standing. So thanks to him as well.
Yeah. Behind me, he's hitting his monkey, and I'm like, please now go downstairs. I can't do this and concentrate on him behind me. So
Bhavna, you have a question for
Sharmeen?
I
had a question. I wanted to know, so once you make this, how long can you keep it? Do you have to refrigerate it, or can you just keep it outside? Yeah.
Let it cool down, Bhavna. So let the whole thing cool down first, and then just put it into the fridge, because don't forget that sugar syrup has to solidify.
Okay.
Like it has to caramelize almost. And one more thing about the sugar syrup, when you do it, if it's too watery and you pour it over your baklava, it's ruined because it's just too watery and the pastry will just become mush. So that consistency of the sugar syrup has to be really sticky on your fingers. So before you pour it into the baklava, always stick it with the 2 fingers. If it feels really sticky, you've got it right. And if it's too thick, it will only sit on top and it won't flow at the bottom.
Won't
so
soak
it's
in.
really thick then. So it needs to just flow and then crystallize like sugar. Are
you planning to make this, Bhavna?
No, I know.
All these questions.
You know, Ratan, I've got a very important question for you.
Me? Oh no.
Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead. Is this a quiz? Is this a quiz or is this like just some random question?
It's by popular demand, really.
It's an audience question, Ratan.
It's an audience question. I know what's coming.
No,
Ratan,
I don't, but go ahead.
Try to cook this? And for who are you going to try and cook this?
For me, if I get phyllo pastry in Calcutta, why not? It seems simple enough.
You get it on Big Basket. I've checked.
Done. I'll make it. Come on. Done.
Geeta did mention that you get it in Krishna stores if anyone wants to know.
Okay, good to know. I'll make it. Done. Are you going to ask us a quick couple of questions to see who's and Bhavna, have you Googled where the capital of the country where it originated from? Benny suggested that.
I know where it does, and I'm not going to say it. I'm
Tell
not
us.
going to give you any satisfaction.
Tell us.
Come
on.
I do want to thank you, Sharmeen, because Ratan didn't know.
So yeah, let me also say this again. I've told Bhavna 5 times before this that Sharmeen is not from Elliot Road or Ripon Street. No offense meant. And her name is Sharmeen, not Sharmeen. But Bhavna insists on embracing you, Sharmeen, to herself and calling you Sharmeen. But yeah, go ahead, Bhavna. Ask Sharmeen a question.
I didn't want to ask her a question. I wanted to thank her on your behalf. Because you didn't know how. So when Ratan was editing these videos and you were watching it together, and he was like absolutely shocked how the sugar syrup turned brown. He's like, what have I missed? What did she put in it? How did it turn brown? So yeah.
It was brown sugar, Ratan. Brown sugar and cinnamon are both brown. So it turns brown.
Yeah, she put cinnamon into it. That's why.
And brown sugar.
Was it brown sugar? I didn't see that. Okay. All right. Good, you didn't ask that question. Okay, so moving forward, Sharmeen, do you have any sort of funny stories from the kitchen, in addition to your curry running down your trousers and getting your marriage proposal in the kitchen? Any funny stories, horror stories from the kitchen?
Horror stories
or funny stories, whatever.
But this is not that true and false game, right? So I'm just going to tell you only one thing that really horror story this was. I got my first pressure cooker, right? And, with the whistle thing on top, like you could pick it up and put it back. Now, one day I was cooking And suddenly we see that this whole pressure thing is going like a fountain. All the curry, the chicken curry was everywhere through this whistle thing because I hadn't put it properly. And it was like a fountain, chicken masala fountain in the kitchen. And I'll never forget that in my life because we had to clean that kitchen, and the horror of seeing this fountain coming from this pressure cooker was just too much for me. Then, you know what I went and did? The next pressure cooker I bought was the one with the secure turning thing that really just does not come off. You just turn it to the right setting.
Set up a curry fountain in Trafalgar Square. You'll get plenty of tourists coming to you.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's switch from cooking for a few minutes, and I actually want to talk to Sharmeen and then let her talk to everyone about something that she started doing recently, which is counseling teenagers. And I know this has nothing to do with cooking, but I think it's quite relevant, especially in these times. That a lot of people are suffering from different types of stress and worries and concerns, and just feeling claustrophobic and wondering what's next. With this unending or seemingly unending pandemic, and I think you guys in the UK are possibly ahead of us on the curve. But tell everyone what you're doing and why you're doing it, what made you do it, and how you're helping teenagers.
Okay, so basically, Ratan, thank you for bringing this up actually, because it is very, very important to me what I'm doing. And I don't think I've ever felt like this in my whole life. I think this is what I was meant to do, really. It's come to me because last year, as a family, all went a bit downhill. Nick was fine, Yanni was fine. But I think for Eliza, not going to school anymore. School's her life. She depends on seeing her friends, her teachers, and suddenly school being closed. And then for me to homeschool these two kids, and it was just a complete melting pot over here, really. And even though we tried to keep ourselves busy, I just wasn't getting any help. So I tried to reach out for help, but there's nothing really out there, to be honest, truth be told. And I then wanted to learn more, study more. So I started taking this life coaching course. It just came to me. And before that, I really have to take this opportunity to thank Samara, Nikaya, Zara, Anisa also. She was in the group with us. All these girls, we just joined and we started baking together. Yeah, we did a WhatsApp group, and every week we would say, okay, let's learn a recipe and let's cook. So one day Nikaya gave us a recipe. It was fantastic. I was so blown away how perfectly Nikaya was cooking and doing things. And then Zara made such a lovely brownie that I'd never tasted anything like that. And she taught us through this. So I saw real potential in these girls. Yeah. And life coaching came along as a course to me. So I took it. I didn't even know at that time what I wanted to do with it, really. And then I did youth work because I wanted to help really my daughter. And I felt there was so much need out there. So I did youth work and I wanted to volunteer, really. And then from that, I started just growing from there. And the last session I did with the SPCI, the kids, the teenagers, we did a whole section on what I have organized through coaching. So I've basically planned this whole different stages of confidence building and reaching your goals. And the reason why I do this is when I see these kids brighten up, and Arman had sent me a message after that session, and that message on WhatsApp, he elevated me to such a level that I said, this is why I am doing what I'm doing. Because if these kids can come back and say, thank you for showing me the way, or thank you for what you've done, and I make them realize, or I make them understand what they are wanting to achieve in life, that's something, it's priceless, right?
That's amazing.
Yep.
So, and I know what these kids are going through. It's not easy on the parents. It's not easy on the children, but they are all sailing through so beautifully. I just feel so proud of them, really.
So I have to say a couple of things. One is that for all parents or kids watching this, if mean, if your child, or if you as a child are, going through any sort of unhappiness because of being confined to your homes, and I think that's a reality. I mean, that's a very real feeling to have. Reach out to Sharmeen, please. I mean, I'm sure she'll give you some way out of it. And firstly, address that issue. Don't sort of sweep it under the carpet. Don't just say, oh, smile and you'll be fine. It's not necessarily as easy as that. So please reach out, recognize that this is an issue, and reach out to Sharmeen. The other thing that I want to say is that, one of my frustrations as someone from the Calcutta Parsi community is that so many people have just, like, so many of my friends have spread all over the world. But the one thing that I love about stories like yours, where all these girls got together, is that even though most of them have barely spent a month or a week here or there in Calcutta, you guys as their parents have got them together as friends, and you're keeping that tradition and that bond going, so that somewhere in their lives they will have Calcutta as an anchor, and maybe the Calcutta Parsi Club as an anchor. So kudos to you for doing that. And also, I think a big shout out to Guli for what she does with the SPCI group pretty much every single Friday. And it's not just the Calcutta SPCI group, it's the wider former Calcutta diaspora. So that's absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, she really keeps all the children going, and she does it so well every single week. She comes with a hail, rain, storm. She doesn't have any ideas. She has ideas. She has brilliant ideas. She just comes and does it. So well done.
Yep. All right. Anything more to add on this for you, Sharmeen, on the counseling?
Just all I can say is, just please don't hide or don't sweep these things under the carpet, because problems, fears, anxieties just become your own prisoner through life. If you don't address it, if you don't understand it, realize it, what you're going through, you need to understand where it comes from. And only that, when you understand it, where it comes from, why it comes from who it comes from, and then you can move on, eliminating negativity from your life once you really understand where it's the origins of these anxieties, fears, and you move on from there. So please understand it, acknowledge it, and try and move on from it to the best of your abilities.
Great words.
I want to say something. Taking from what Ratan just said, I am not a Parsi, but I was brought into this whole world because of Benaz, who used to just take me for your events at Parsi Club and make me stand and give out tea to people while she mingled with everyone. Even though that was her job, but she dragged me to do it so she could go and meet everyone. But it's just been so amazing. It's like, I mean, I've seen how all of you, all the kids are encouraged so much to just do everything. They play sports, they're thrown on stage, they're made to act, sing, no matter what. I mean, you can do it, can't do it well, doesn't matter. The fact is that you do it. And I think that's so nice, because you don't see it anywhere else. And you guys are you're like a really close you're like a family, all of you. And it's so nice that I've had the chance to even, be even 5% part of that. I just want to thank all of you for that, because it's fun. It's really nice, especially this whole pandemic year. I mean, I had nothing to do, and all these things that Benaz
You're welcome.
organized. It was just so much fun.
See, let me just say one more thing.
Let
me say one more thing. You have never given me tea at any event, but if you do that, we'll make you more than 5% part of the family. We'll take it up to 100%. Okay, at the next function, I want some tea. Okay, so let's end. I think those are sweet words. I'll acknowledge that. Thank you, Apna. Let's end with a 3-question quiz, Sharmeen, on whatever you've cooked for us today. This is Bhavna against me, head to head. Winner takes all. Let's go.
I hope. Come on, let's do this. Okay.
I made notes.
Because you asked Bhavna which country, Ratan, you better get this right, because you asked Bhavna which country.
Okay.
No, Bhavna, listen to this, okay? Which country was the original place of baklava?
Turkey.
Come on. Turkey. And it was not what you are thinking, Ratan. You'll be surprised.
Turkey.
Turkey.
Oh.
Iran.
Ancient.
Persia.
Yes, well done. The
1-0.
ancient Assyrians, 8th century BC, they used to take flat bread, nuts, and honey and put it in a wood oven. So that's where, so there's no capital city. So ancient Assyria.
Okay, next question.
So that's us,
Bhavna.
right? We come from ancient Assyria.
Yeah, of course.
So
Of course.
Am I right? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, so see? So, okay, origin of Dahi Mishti Dahi. Where is it?
The what? Sorry, I didn't hear that.
Origin. Sorry.
Which town, city, state? What are you asking?
Doi or Mishti Doi. Where does Mishti Doi come from? From where?
Bengal.
Bangladesh. Okay,
It comes from Bogra, Bangladesh, 150 years ago. And it was started by the Bose family.
Okay, last question. I won't say anything. Bhavna, you can give the answer. Okay. I'll mute myself.
No, you can answer. It's fine.
No, this question will. Okay, so last question, right? Who said Mishti Dai is sweet? Why is Didi so bitter?
Didi is not bitter.
Didi is bitter.
I don't know. No political
Who
comment.
Who said Mishti Dai is sweet?
Bhavna,
why
you can
is
answer
Didi
it if
so
you want.
bitter?
I don't know. I don't know the answer, Ratan.
I think
you know it.
I think you might just cover it.
I don't think Didi is bitter. So wrong. False question.
Okay, Didi is not bitter. Okay, next question.
Okay, last one.
So the origin of the word baklava. Where did the word baklava come from?
I don't know.
No?
Something to do with nuts. No.
It's ballet in Mongolian. So the word ballet comes from Mongolian. The origins again have it in Persian word, which is and bakla comes from Arabic. The Greeks turned it into baklava.
Ratan is Googling it now.
No, I'm not.
He's Googling it, right? I thought he froze. I thought the camera froze. I said, oh my God, in the middle of the session, the camera froze. I said, oh no.
Anyway, Benny says from Bakra, so you can talk to us separately on that. I think on that note, we are coming close to an hour. So Sharmeen, thank you so very much for doing this. The efforts you made to, I think you spent about 5 or 6 hours with the cameras and the angles and the positions, and you got Nick involved and maybe Aliza involved, I'm not sure. So thanks to all of you.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it, and if I enjoyed a cooking program, that's saying something. Thanks for all the good work you're doing, not just with kids here, but with all kids. And we hope to have you on for another program sometime soon. Bhavna, thank you so much for being
part. Thank you, guys.
And for allowing me to win.
Thank you, both of you.
Always, Ratan. Anytime.
Thank you so much.
All right. Take care, guys. See you soon. Bye.
Take care. Bye, everyone. Thanks for joining.